Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. Euro is underway, buddy. A lot of sports underway right now.
RIP USA Cricket.
I know.
Good effort.
They're not out. It's Super 8. They got a bunch of other games. A bunch of other matches. Yeah, this is like another little round robin group.
I have no idea. I thought it was knockout.
Oh, come on, dude. This is a knockout. You think we're just one and done in the round two? No way. We have more life to live.
Cricket lives. I mean, we're dead now. You can't lose. I mean, our bowling was just abhorrent today, giving up over 10 per over. So, I mean, at this point, you're playing like all the good teams. So it's such is life. It's like, oh, it's fun. It's like every time the USA plays soccer, and we're going to have a taste of that soon with Copa. It's like, oh, good, we made it out of groups. And then, oh, the Dutch are a good soccer team, and we're going to lose. Or like, we're going to play England. It's like, they like actually care about soccer a lot. Like the highlight of the Euros so far is Landon Donovan's haircut.
Without question.
Hair plug. Yeah. So I assume it was
there was one
where they take the hair from the back of your head. And, all the goals have been good. Somebody had that average. Like
Shaqiri.
On average, the ratio of goals that come from outside the box is like X. And at the Euros so far, it's like X times 2. Like
so good.
There's so many deep shots. Like what's our guy Brinks say? Half court. This is the half court goal guy. Does he play for this team?
Well, for cricket information, by the way, we are in Group 2 of the Super 8, which means we get to play all of these teams, not just South Africa. We get our shot at England and the West Indies. And if we can win those 2 matches, then we could advance to the knockout stage. But boy, oh boy, did South Africa just tee off on our bowlers today, it's going to hurt their confidence.
It's not great.
Quick other kind of sports going on. Watching a lot of tennis on the grass. I freaking love grass tennis. I forgot how much fun it is these matches are so fast. There's so much.
It's the T20 of tennis.
It's after the marathon of Roland Garros too. It's just such a change of pace. Watching a lot of U.S. swimming trials. The drama there has been amazing. Like you want to contrast a dud with a just all-time excitement, the game 5 of the NBA finals versus the swimming trials on the same night. I
was gonna ask you that just in like our DMs. I didn't even want to put it in like the NBA chat, but I guess I'm really putting it out there now. But like you're a connoisseur of the NBA. You watch it, you like it, you take it in all year long.
Yeah, like
the finals sucked, right?
The postseason gets an F, man. The postseason gets an F.
The whole postseason, just because a lot of it was just bad. Hey, it's like anything else. It's like following a team or backing a team for a season. Sometimes you have bad injury luck. Guess what? The NBA postseason, TNT had bad injury luck. Like, their career might be closing in as it is. But no, like every team that was going to give us a fun series against the Celtics got hurt. And the Western Conference was more fun, but at the same time, it was like a couple of those series weren't that great. The only really good series was Timberwolves Nuggets, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that was like super fun, right?
Knicks Sixers was pretty damn good. Knicks Sixers was good, but that was a round 1 series.
I'd say the best one in the East was Knicks Pacers. Didn't they play?
Yeah.
Am I imagining that?
Yeah, no, there was some basketball.
Because, you had Reggie announcing games.
Yeah, Game 7 was ultimately a blowout, so whatever. No, the NBA playoffs were an absolute dud. And you know what, though? The NBA, they don't give a fuck. You know why? Because they're negotiating all-time incredibly high contracts to move it back into the network television domain. So everybody's getting paid. I don't think it doesn't, the cultural relevance is still there. even if the ratings aren't. So I don't think there's really an impetus to change the product at all, and I don't even know that they could do anything about it. Like you can argue that the rule of like making players qualify for all NBA and having them play through injuries in the regular season lowered the quality. I would listen to that argument, but the Celtics were just such a dominant, perfect team for playoff basketball, just perfectly well composed, and super team on paper. That got
you were kind of were you out of town last weekend, or did you get to watch the U.S. Open?
I watched a lot of the U.S. Open. I watched a bunch of it. Yeah, a bunch of it. Yeah, it was good. That was good. The final holes in Rory Meltdown. What was give me your take on the U.S. Open?
I'm a Rory hater. I'm a lifelong member. Fucking stamped, member number 1 on the membership card, buddy. So I mean, it was the best Father's Day I've ever had. I had a Bryson ticket. My matchups were all coming home. I had 2 go the full 72 holes. Three were settled on the cut, but 2 were going the full 72. One was kind of close going into the weekend. That they started to drift apart. It was beautiful. So Sunday was a casher. I would have loved the only cream on top would have been I had Colin top 10 and Hatton top 20. And they were like 14th and 26th. And just it was there. There were some prices to be taken. Obviously, the bonehead move is not just putting your entire bankroll on Xander top 10 around even money at every single major, because that is just his ceiling. Well, his ceiling is 1 now because he has one win, but his ceiling is right there with his floor, and his floor is like 8th. So I kind of missed on that. But having the Bryson ticket, having the Rory Meltdown, especially having some close calls at majors in the past. I had Usti and Rahm. I had somebody win. Oh, I had Rose when Sergio won that Masters. Having some close ones that hurt. And that's kind of the name of the game. It's hard to win a golf tournament. It's hard to win a golf outright. But having Rory up by 2, I just kind of surrendered in my mind at that point. Like, it's over. That's hey, it's going into extras at 0-0 on your over 6 in a baseball game. It's like, well, you never know, but that's where I kind of was. The only the only inkling of hope was that it wasn't Valhalla, where it's like, oh, Xander just basically has to not be like a 99th percentile idiot at this point to lose his tournament. Like, there's just no drama down the stretch because of the way that course was set up, where it's like, hey, you could get into some trouble. What was really tamping those hopes was Rory's just playing so well. Like, he was throwing darts, just like it's like the Scotty darts, where it's like, how is he hitting it like to 6 feet on every hole? This is so annoying to bet against him. So those misses, and those aren't easy putts, because those are some of those putts. If you miss those too far, the opposite way, you're trying to go to the pro side of the hole. Some of those roll for a while. Those greens are crazy fast. There's like nothing your weekend guys have played, unless I've played at a course that ran out of money and just couldn't afford to really water. And that was, it was like putting on concrete. We're just like, fucking, I'm picking this up. We're done. They don't have that option. So, I mean, missing those 2 short putts has to really mess with your mind. I don't blame him for just being like, see you in Scotland. And we're done. Not like it's not like he was going to play in Detroit, or no offense to the quad cities of Iowa and Illinois, but Rory probably wasn't going to go to the John Deere either. Like, those just aren't super high end fields for the most part. It's funny, Bryson has said he wants to play Detroit. Obviously, he's not allowed. I don't know what he's trying to angle at, if they are going to come to some sort of agreement within like the next 10, 15 days, maybe. But Rocket Mortgage is one of his sponsors still, I think. I think he's still under that umbrella. So that's why he's, he lost that and a close one a few years back. He's played that one. And I guess that's what I'm hoping for. My final take on the golf was, hey, it was good. And I know Rahm had like gout and Brooks didn't really compete. I mean, as far as a lot of the other live guys really weren't in the mix. Brooks for a while, until he, started trending backwards. But having those guys in the mix just makes it like that was the best field of the year. That and the PGA, these are the best fields of the year because you have those guys. And Rahm's going to get it figured back out, and Brooks is back to the right putter. If anybody follows him on social, like I'm probably betting Brooks to win the Open Championship, just based on like a club change. So hopefully they come to some sort of agreement. I don't need these guys every week, but man, when we play the Players, when we do the playoffs, when we do Muirfield, some of the big, Genesis, like Tigers tournament, Jack's plays, like we need the big names at those tournaments too. That really ramps it all up. So hopefully they come to some sort of agreement. I've boycotted following the business side of that because it is insanely boring. And it just does not. It just does not move the needle for me. Like, oh, hey, here's like a bunch of stuff from the PIF, and like, I'm happy for you. Sorry that happened. That's my take on all.
I didn't know that.
I didn't read all that, guys. So it's just kind of like you just kind of hope Mom and Dad figure it out.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're not, if you're looking for something to fill the sports void in the absence, because presumably the Stanley.
I don't have a
no.
It's been fun. I've been watching some of it.
Oh yeah,
I still don't like understand it enough. Pete gave me a winner. I bet the over last night.
Nice.
Got it home in the second. I said the second inning, second
period.
Second period. So 1-0 in hockey this week. Follow me.
Yeah, what's your take? It's just that it's been good. I don't disagree with that.
My main take is I wish those. Well, I'm going to use podcasters as like a derogatory, even though we're podcasters. But I wish those guys wouldn't have hunted down that girl from the Edmonton fans.
Yeah,
it just makes it weird. Like let her have some anonymity. Because she was, she told the story. She was pretty fucked up, she said. She's like, hey, I didn't eat all day, and then I had 11 Trulies in the first period. Why it's not something I normally do. It's like, it was like that interview I didn't love. Like, I would have liked her just to let the mystery be sometimes, guys. That's my one take of the hockey so far. Okay. I am cheering for Carolina in Game 6.
Carolina? They're not in it. The Panthers?
Panthers, you know what I mean? Sorry, it's the same thing to me. They're like the same team, right?
You're an NFL mind. I like it.
I know.
But no, I'm cheering. No,
the Panthers.
We want the Oilers. Oilers all the way. Yes. Look, man, if Canada was gonna end this inglorious streak,
I cheer for this.
This is how it was gonna happen. It was gonna happen with McDavid. It was gonna happen from a 3-0 deficit. And this is it, man. I'm excited for it. I want to see.
I think if the streak ends, if and when the streak ever ends, there's nothing saying it will ever end. Hockey could end before Canada wins another cup. Hockey, as we know it, the world could end. I would like the Toronto Maple Leafs to end the streak because I know people. I don't know anyone from freaking Edmonton. Who lives in Edmonton? Mill's like
Andy McNeil like kind of out there? He's also Calgary.
I think he's Calgary adjacent. Like we don't really know Edmonton people, so I'm I'm still cheering for the United States of America.
Okay. I've enjoyed it. It's been the Stanley Cup playoffs have been entertaining, and hockey, as much as you can enjoy it on TV, it's been good. But no, my recommendation was going to be if you're looking for sports content. And you're kind of in the absence of playoff basketball, playoff hockey, whatever. Trials are over on Sunday, so you've already missed most of the drama of the trials. Sorry. Netflix has.
How cool is that they put a whole pool in Lucas Oil Stadium?
It's awesome.
That's awesome. Kind of nuts, right?
So awesome. It's
how big a swimming pool is? How do you like take?
It's not just one pool. They have the whole giant warm down pool. They put all the plumbing. They moved in.
Assemble a pool inside. It's like a ship in a bottle type thing.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I guess we not that long ago we saw Keon Coleman running in water. It was like 6 weeks ago, man.
Yeah.
The combine was there, and then suddenly, boom! There's a fucking pool.
Bang! There's a pool.
I have enjoyed that.
Giant pools. The swimming has been great, but no, my recommendation was you do not have to care for cycling at all. You do not have to have watched last year's Tour de France. Season 2 of the Netflix Unchained Tour de France behind the scenes is just gripping television. It is so fucking good. And the specifically hearing the team managers coordinating strategy and like F-bombing and just like losing their shit, like when their sprinter like gets beat at the line, like it is such a
it's like a NASCAR pit crew kind of vibe. Or
so
what?
good. It's so good. It's so good.
What's it called?
And the Tour de France Unchained. And it's a lot of subtitles. So if you tried to watch like Shogun or something and you're like, ugh, too many subtitles, this is probably going to be some of that same vibe because there's a lot of reading.
You can't play on your phone while you're watching.
You can't play on your phone, but the storytelling is good. And last year's Tour de France, by the way, was really, really good. Like it was outstanding. And like the guy who ended up winning, Jonas Vingegaard, he had the best time trial I've ever seen in my life in any event. And it was this time trial that effectively won him the Tour de France. And like in the moments after, everybody is like, how the fuck do you do this? What is he using? What is he cheating? Like it was just like immediately like
they're all
like,
cheating.
Bang. Like, yeah, no, but like that, like just they went right to that. And I was like, holy shit, like good on you guys. Like this is so great. And you know, it was just incredibly real and just an awesome slice of sports in a way that I having bet on Tour de France last year and watching most of the stages, like I especially loved it. And I feel like I know more about the teams now and their teams' characteristics and the characters behind, who are behind the teams. All of it is just freaking awesome, and could not recommend it more highly. You do not need to watch season 1 to understand it too. Just jump right into season 2. And
it's cycling. Like you don't need to like.
There's no
They race through France, guys. There's not like a big backstory. It's like the Surf Dracula tweet. You know the Surf Dracula tweet?
Yes. Back in the day, they used to, back in the day, they would just be like right away, bang, here's Dracula, he's surfing. Now we need an entire season to set up how we got the surfboard. And you see 5 minutes of him surfing in the finale. Yeah.
That's what I like. And I don't know if it's the same production company that does like Full Swing or the tennis one, but all the Netflix sports docs have been pretty good. Obviously, everyone loves Drive to Survive. Yeah. All of them have been pretty good. I do have to catch up a little on some of that stuff, but I don't have any good recs.
Dude, the tennis one was season 1 of the tennis one was incredible. Season 2 went totally off the rails because they're just like right into some storylines that are just like, I don't want this.
It's funny how it's changed your brain when you watch live sports now, because like, and again, back to Rory, just storming off and spinning his tires out in, like the ultimate show of bad sportsmanship. Just kidding, Rory. I love you.
Yeah.
But what's the Full Swing? The camera's right there. Like you can see them. And I follow some of those people, or they end up in my For You. It's like, we were like running after Rory and stuff. It's crazy. Like it's changed your brain now where I'm thinking, I can't wait to like see this episode, knowing it comes out like, next year. It's like this is coming out this comes out like February of next year.
Oh yeah.
But knowing like I might not watch if they release it all at once, I believe I might just skip to this episode.
Yeah. I was the exact opposite way, where I was watching Jabeur collapse in Wimbledon. Like, I can't wait to not watch this episode because I will not be watching this one.
I know there's a like. That is the tough part about like betting on this stuff every week and then watching those. Like the first season of Full Swing, it's like, oh no, I don't like this episode because I did bad at this tournament. Like this is a bad tournament for me, or like my guy collapsed down the stretch. I had Colin in a tournament where he kind of collapsed down the stretch. Like, this sucks. I don't know. Oh, this is the reaping and sowing tweet. We're just gonna keep doing tweets. Like, I don't like this because I made bad bets and now I have to relive them. But,
we got 2 questions in the chat that I want to address. One is from Connor Butler. Any NBA draft talk or anything I'm hearing? Anywhere to bet it? Is there a single prop up there? The only thing I've heard that I think is actionable is Dillingham is sliding because he's tiny. I think people thought he was potentially going to be a top pick because he's a good point guard, but realistically, his first chance he goes off is late top 10 to the Spurs, from what I can tell you. The other actionable stuff, I don't even know because there's no markets. I don't know that it's as certain as everybody implies that Sarr is going to be 1.01. No clue. I have heard nothing that the Hawks have made up their mind there, or really understand why he is perceived as the first overall pick. So there maybe is a soft market at the very top, but I don't have anything actionable. Second question.
I feel bad for the Hawks. It's like, of all the seasons,
I know, worst draft ever, and you get the very lucky lottery number one.
Pretty good players, but it's not like, oh, you get Wemby, oh, you get LeBron,
Anthony Edwards,
you get Anthony Edwards,
Yeah. Nope. With no more back, Smith. John asked, with no more basketball, what futures are we parlaying Scotty with every week? Well, there's going to be a lot of very bettable numbers in the Olympic betting markets, and that's going to all resolve at the end of July, which is exciting. We'll talk about those as they come up. There's already a metal markets popping. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't stop anyone from already starting their process in terms of projecting medals. The France, I was literally going to finally, for the first time ever, not bet the under on the host team. I was like, because there's a bunch of French that I'm like, God damn, these guys are good. It's so high. It's so absurdly high. I have no clue how they're getting to 24.
They're gonna
win. Idea.
Is that golds?
Golds. Yes.
I was gonna say they're gonna get a
huge number.
They're gonna get multiple medals in golf just out of blue because golf's so random, and they have 2 of the 60 golfers, and they're not bad. I have started to look into Olympic golf a little, just because not only is it just a fun market with it's one of the smallest fields you'll see all year, but it's at the French course they played the Ryder Cup at a couple times ago, Le National.
Yeah, and the French total golds.
Super nice scores.
French total golds is 23.5. What? That's crazy. That's incredible.
Are there some track medals that we aren't? Because it's going to be swimming.
The new stuff they introduced was breakdancing and shit. Maybe they win all the breakdancing medals. I have no idea.
We'll do a full episode on the breakdancing.
Yeah, but they're going to get through. They're going to get 2 or 3 in swimming. They're going to get they'll get some rando stuff like fence. They have a pretty good fencing program. They'll get some sailing probably. Just off the top of your head, you want to guess how many gold medals the French had in the 2020 Olympic Games, which of course were held in 2021 in Tokyo.
Was it 18?
Yeah, not correct. It was 10. They had 10 golds.
I know.
They're going to increase their count by 14. I don't know, man.
We need to dig in on these new sports. It's got to be something they have the 7 best breakdancing teams and mixed breakdancing. This is when you find out when they added all the karate, shit. They're giving out
that's how they're
9
gonna
more.
Get 8 more. Yeah.
Yeah, they're giving 9 more karate medals out of the blue because of Kumite and shit like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, France got one of the karate golds in Tokyo. They got 2 of the judo golds in Tokyo. They got 2 handball, 2 fencing, 1 rowing, 1 shooting, and 1 volleyball. I don't know, man. I do not know how they're getting to 24. I wasn't going to do it this year, man. But I do not think that's even close to fair. I don't understand how they got to that number. I thought it was going to be 16, 17, 18. I would have said, okay.
Well, now I'm going to spend my weekend looking at freaking
24 golds? I don't know, man. I don't know. All right. So that's some homework to do. So what are we parlaying with? Okay, keep an eye out for an awards bet that is going to be the
maybe you should answer my question from the DMs earlier. I asked because I watched some stuff and the tweet where he got all the big muscles. Can Victor Wembanyama win MVP next year? Is there going to be some fatigue? Can SGA even come close to repeating? Is Embiid's window kind of closed on that? Is it like, hey, we need to give this to some young blood, and fucking like if he takes, I don't know what sort of step he needs to take up to be in that conversation. Doesn't feel like it's a huge step.
It's not.
He's kind of got some like crazy ass numbers.
Yeah.
The team probably needs to be a little better, but
yeah, they will be.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna have a better roster next year. I don't think it's crazy at all. I think they have to make the playoffs. That's probably the leap. Like honestly, that's the price. Like if the Spurs make the playoffs, he's going to be in the mix. The voter fatigue on Jokic is going to be massive, but the real runaway bet is going to be Wemby DPOY. If you can find as soon as that DPOY,
feels like that just opens like 2-1, doesn't it?
It should be like minus 180, 160, something in that range. It shouldn't be 2-1. Whatever it is, it's going to be a bettable number. So that's what you parlay everything with Scotty into the foreseeable future.
Oh man,
it's not going to get resolved until May.
I was going to say those don't get resolved in June.
No.
Did you see that? Did you see that parlay online? The guy had like Cole Kmet to score a touchdown. And like it wasn't like
into Celtics, yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. It wasn't like week 18. It was like October.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a week. It was like a week 5 bet or something.
Just a random middle of the season bet. Yeah.
Yeah, like
anytime touchdown.
Yeah, I wonder if that guy took like a bunch of anytime touchdowns that day and just parlayed it with the Celtics. He had like 6 of them, and that's the only one that survived.
He got a good number on the Celtics, if I remember right. Anyway, let's talk a little soccer.
I like
nothing funner than when you get up in the morning and there's already sports going on that matter in Europe.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
That's why tennis rules.
Yes,
like you have tennis, and then the best part about tennis is like there's fewer matches later in the week when golf is on. So it's like perfect. Monday through Wednesday, there's just this glut of matches that you can pay attention to if you need something. And then you get to the weekend and boom, there's golf. But yeah, the soccer is really like the group chats are popping a little harder in the mornings.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, with the soccer going on. I don't like VAR.
Yeah, VAR is not good. VAR is a bad thing. Taking away a fun part of the game, which is the outrageous goals. I don't know why you thought that was a good idea, but that's fine.
I have a quick take on that. It's just something that popped into my head. I don't know. Maybe this is something they're discussing, and I feel like it felt so obvious that it was dumb, and I needed someone else's opinion on it because you're familiar. You watch tennis. Anyone who watches tennis, if you're not a Hawkeye, the technology they use, it's like, hey, the umpire called that out. I think it was in, so I say I challenge that. And then 4 seconds later, there's this replay up on the huge screen that shows the ball in slow motion and where it landed, and then it says in or out. And you either win your challenge or lost your challenge. And 15 to 20 seconds later, for all of it, we've moved on. We're on to you're serving again, or the point's over, whatever. The game's over.
Yeah.
It's that fast.
Yes.
We have, in baseball, and we haven't really talked any baseball because fuck baseball, but in baseball, how long have we had the pitch track?
A long time. Oh yeah, we know a lot about where the pitch is going. A lot.
I feel like we really, really know where the pitch is going, and I don't know the exact. And I'm sure this has been brought up. I'm sure this is not obviously not my idea, but like, what would be wrong with like? I don't like more replay ever, but with these umpires, man, I think once per at bat, you should get to say just bullshit. Because the pitch track is like happening instantly. They should have the same system where it's up on the big screen, and they either call it a strike or a ball. And if you think the strike was a ball and you're wrong, maybe there's punitive.
Another strike.
You get another strike.
Yeah.
And the pitcher should get one too,
fun.
where he's like, he says, "I think that was a strike." And if he's wrong, the batter gets an extra ball. And if it was ball 4, the next guy starts with the ball.
Oh, I love that.
Like just it would be so quick. You could do it on the screen the same way. I would say
okay.
the
Like,
only
in
fly in the
general,
ointment I had
yeah.
was you do that. These umpires there's some umpires that are just dicks. Like that just kind of comes with the territory. Like
Sure.
you kind of got to use this at your discretion, because if you show an umpire up, like once you're right, you can't like make a big deal out of it and do the told you so face, because suddenly that strike zone got 3 inches bigger and you're out of challenges.
You're out of challenges, right?
Like you can't show the ump, and I think eventually they'd grow used to it. Like sometimes I'm wrong, such is life.
Yeah.
Like,
Do they even do the pitch clock anymore?
No, they do the pitch clock. That's great. Things still go quick.
It's gone completely out of sight, which is great. That's kind of the
I don't
intention.
know. Yeah, if you guys have like, what's the major flaw in this? Hit me up with that. But I think you can do it so quick. That the main reason I hate more replay, and this harkens back to the NBA, is because I don't need to see. Well, I don't need to see the ref looking at the monitor for like 5 minutes as we go to another commercial. Like these should be instant. They should be up on the screen. Pitch tracks already has, like, that's the thing. Pitch track, by the time you say challenge, it should have a decision already. It shouldn't be like, hey, let's decide what's going to happen here. No, it's like, nope, that was a ball. He's right. Like, it should be instant.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I think the lesson I've learned is that in general, the tech replay, all of those implementations to sports have made them worse in general, except for Hawkeye. Hawkeye is so good, and it's because it's so fast. And if you can get instant validation or challenges, incorporated and get it right, then by all means do it. And they should do that for baseball. I agree with that. But soccer and VAR, it's been rough. And when especially if you're not watching live and you're just watching flash score and you see a goal, and then it's like they're looking to VAR about offsides in the buildup. And then you're like, in the buildup, oh Christ! And they always come through.
And a lot of them have been correct.
Offsides.
It's like, that's the correct call, but it's not in the spirit of it.
But we have 15 games in the books. I don't know that there's a ton to take away from them, because the first matches in groups felt a little exhibition-y, if I'm being honest. It felt a little bit like these international teams coming together, figuring each other out, figuring out how they wanted to play, managers figuring out how they wanted to, just in general, what they wanted to be. But we do have some market signal on 15 games. And the market for soccer is interesting because it is worldwide liquidity number one. In a tournament like this, where all of the club soccer is on pause except for MLS, and you have all of the eyes on this one event, it should be the hardest to beat. That said, this team's getting crushed, Andy. It's getting popped. It's getting creamed. And I kind of wanted to do some testing of some theories with you, because I honestly come at this with a very how would you make a bottom up number in soccer? I don't know. Try to come up with some player rating that captures like how good you are at passing, how many XG you create, what's your XG conversion to goals, how good are you at saving goals that are on target, how good are you at clearances if you're a defender,
how often do you bring your goalie up to the opposing box late in the game? Well, that's the thing. Like, I've thought about this a bunch, because the only soccer model I've ever built has been the simplest thing ever. Plus on hey, how many goals are we gonna score? Because I definitely thought I could beat ELO, EM,
an ELO model.
No, English Premier League, EPL. I said ELP, so I said ELO. The biggest issue is just like, how fast can I wonder. I kind of want to talk to some people. We wanted to try to talk to some people, and I think we might try still yet this summer about how they model soccer, because the main thing, like, everything you said makes sense, but it's similar to football when we talk about football, player level modeling. Like, hey, you have the strongest pass rush in the league, and this is a team with a great run scheme, and it doesn't matter. Like, hey, guess what? They run at a higher clip, they run more efficiently, and or thinking back to some of the better coaching jobs against good pass rushes, like one of the Patriots teams I was harking back to. I've said harken a lot today. I don't know why that stuck with me.
All the way back.
Just like a smart coach is like, oh, we're up against like 3 straight weeks of great pass rushes. Guess who's throwing the ball faster than they have during the first 17 games of the year? Like us. And now we're gonna win. Like there's so many ways to beat it. And that's the biggest thing is when you see the lineups come out and the formations, and then during the game, when you make substitutions and there's a formation change because suddenly it's 2-0 and you're not going to be playing the attacking style formation that you started the game with anymore. Like, how do your models adjust? And I think I feel like every time I get into this, I'm just overthinking it, but it feels like the best bettors in the world are accounting for some of this, you would think. And again, like you said, the steam is getting crushed, and I think that's the toughest part. And I find it interesting with these international tournaments how quickly it comes into like a clarity, into a stasis for the market, because sometimes you'll have this. I mean, sometimes the steam is right, and I think that's just variance, but these aren't teams that you've got to see play all year. These aren't, club teams that have played together. It's like you've gotten some friendlies, you've gotten this, that. Some of the friendlies is like, oh, hey, it's a friendly, but we're missing this player, and that player because they still have club games, or, it just, this guy's picked up a couple knocks and he's not going to play a friendly against fucking Gibraltar this week. Such is life. So I think there's just, you're missing so much information heading into a tournament like this. It makes it hard to make really good numbers to start out. And then, what we talked about off the air, like a lot of goals are scored inside the box. Like, spoiler, it's easier because you're closer. There's been so many screamers from like 40 yards, man. It's just nuts how many big,
just low XG goals. Yeah, low XG goals.
It is like Steph Curry playing soccer out there, just 3-pointer after 3-pointer pouring in. So that adds to the variance. So I guess if you ask me, like, just watching it, how do you think the steam did? I would have guessed towards like it might have gotten a little fucked because there's some crazy goals.
Okay, so let me go over some of the numbers, and you can help me draw some conclusions. You ready?
Yes.
We're going to start with Germany, Scotland. Most of my experiment, by the way, what I went with is I took
explain the process.
I took the international ELO ratings, which are pretty constant depending on wherever you
Where'd you get those from?
The internet.
I know, but I think people might want to hunt this down. Where's some resources?
Football.net was the easiest copy paste table on the internet, so that was what I grabbed.
Which site is the best with import HTML?
Exactly, and I'm using very standard equations for international soccer, converting ELO of 2 teams to a 3-way money line. So we are calculating from ELO. I'm calculating probability team A wins, probability team B wins, and probability of a draw. There's a little bit of backfitting to historical data to get the coefficients correct and the constants correct in the equation, but there's nothing complicated about what I did here. And really what I was trying to do is I wanted to see, these markets have been open since May. We've known these match day 1 matchups for a long time, and there was a good amount of shaping happened over the balance of figuring out who was going to be available on each team. But then limits went up day of at almost all the big shops, and there was pretty decent amount of steam on some of these sites. Now to calculate steam, I'm just taking the win probability of win A, the implied market probability of A, B, and draw on the morning of when limits go up compared to close at penny. Seem fair?
That's fair.
Okay.
Change in win probability.
Yeah. You want to guess the kind of the biggest steam so far, like percent wise, biggest steam.
As far as a percentage of change?
Yeah. Percentage of probability change.
I don't know, man, like 5%. Does that sound too big?
Very, very close. 4%, 3.9%. And that was against England. When they played Serbia. Their win, the market said Win probability of 70.6. 66.7. That got bet down.
3 lines on
3 lines one. Yeah, 3 lines one. The biggest bet on so far has been Turkey was bet on against Georgia.
They were like everybody's sleeper. And then that was fun. It was fun that they were good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, that got steamed all along, and then day of with limits up, it got steamed 3.4% more. So that's kind of the ballpark of the bigger moves that we've seen. For the most part, most of these games, it's kind of interesting. Some of them are just getting no action at all on day of. Like, they don't even bother moving them. They're like, nope, we feel good about our prices. Most of them are kind of moving in the 1 to 2% range. Right, most of the numbers are kind of getting bandied about in the 1 to 2% range, and other than today's Switzerland-Scotland, which got bet against aggressively on the draw, for the most part, nobody's touching the draw. The draw is just kind of meh,
The draw got there on a couple of body parts. Fractions of body parts.
yes. The draw came down tough. Big time in Turkey, Georgia, but that was mostly just people saying that Turkey was the right side there, and the probability came out of the draw pool. All right, so once calculating, okay, what's moving day of, how much, what's the sentiment of these teams? Then I took the ELOs and I'm comparing, like, okay, well, did the move jive with what the ELO said it would? Right. And the ELO is calculated based on international results, which is the qualifying process for these European teams. It is also their World Cup appearances last year. It's the Nations League, whatever the fuck that is. Basically, like, as your team has been competing for international, this I don't think it has international friendlies, right? I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I'm pretty sure international friendlies are not.
I wouldn't think so, because they're friendlies and it shouldn't count. And also,
it shouldn't count. No, I'm 99%. I don't know how these sites all calculate it, but they're all have the same numbers.
That'd be like putting the NFL teams in the playoffs based stuff. Like, well, tiebreaker was preseason wins.
Yeah, yeah. Preseason covering the spread. You're in. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're in.
All right. So so basically, I'm just trying to see. Okay, well, did the market move generally in the direction that ELO said it did? Okay. So let's go through these real quick. You ready?
Okay.
Match 1, Germany, Scotland. Market moved against Germany. The ELO said go against Germany. That is a question in and of itself about home field advantage in these Euro tournaments that I think the market is a little soft on.
Yeah, the VAR today, that was the only one that was like, oh, you might be wrong. That was probably foul, but it's we were watching that live from Stuttgart.
Yes.
That kid, was it on the Jamal goal?
The Jamal goal, there was no look at the offsides, and then on the goal that got VAR'd,
like, you got to leave that one. Hometown kid scoring in a stadium. Oh.
Yeah. All right. So market said ELO said go against Germany. Market went against Germany. In match 2, ELO said bet on Hungary. Market went against Hungary. Okay, so something about like a player level master model. Like, okay, my operating assumption is that somebody's got player level models here that they're using to drive betting on these games in a way that would trump any ELO based. Is that fair?
Are you time stamping this Steam at all? Are you?
Yeah.
Are you doing?
I'm getting it at limits up.
Okay, I wonder about how does limits up coincide with like
lineups,
lineup formation release?
It's well ahead of it.
That's where I'm wondering. Like, have you looked into that at all? Is there any Steam following lineups? And I do feel like there's people who bet this seriously probably have like leaks. It's like the people who do serious money on baseball. Like, they know, hey, this guy's resting well ahead of the market. Hey, this pitcher he's on a pitch limit. They know that well ahead of the underdog tweeting it out, obviously.
Yeah,
so like,
right.
I feel like some of these moves, maybe I'm wrong. My thought there is like, what should we be looking at moves after lineups come out? Because some of the good some of the good money from the smart people is probably coming prior to that. Like you said, they're more interested in limit up than the lineups are on flash score now. Time to bet, boys.
Yeah, no. I'm assuming if you go limits up to close, you're catching all of that. You're catching you're catching everybody who's doing this at a high level, at a player level model, with knowing what the lineups are. Like, I'm assuming that the Steam is mostly that signal.
Okay.
And I'm just curious how much it agrees or disagrees with Elo.
All right, next game.
Again, yeah. Elo said bet on Croatia, and the market bet on Croatia. Elo said bet on Italy, and the market. Oh, I'm sorry. Elo said bet against Italy. The market.
Oh my God.
The market did bet against Italy, and Italy won against Albania. These are small though. Nothing really serious here. Poland, Netherlands. Elo said market was fair. Market bet Netherlands. Slovenia, Denmark. Elo said bet Slovenia. Market did nothing. Serbia, England said bet against England. Market bet against England. Everybody lost.
I wonder if the England price is just going to be that way all year or all tournament.
It could be.
Just
I mean,
inflated.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a huge position that somebody took on Serbia, but it was basically just like England shouldn't be that high, and I watched the match; they probably shouldn't have been that high. Romania, Ukraine. Elo said bet Romania like your life depends on it, and the market basically passed. There was a little bit of away from the draw on that one, but nothing.
How'd that turn out?
Yeah, Romania did quite well. Belgium, Slovakia. It said fade Belgium. The market faded Belgium also, and Belgium did not win. Although the XG on that game said that the result was a lie. Austria, France. The Elo said fade France. The market faded France, and France won. But again, the underlying data said that was a closer match. Very competitive match at least.
I know. I hate that the ones I watched. It's like, man, eye test said France could throttle some people. They just
sure.
They were just sloppy. They looked a little sloppy. I think you're right. Like you talked about at the top of this, you said a lot of it felt very exhibition-y. Like some of the good teams looked a little sloppy. The Englands, the Frances, and the team that I just don't think had I don't know if it's like extra motivation, but you don't want to pull one of those when you're hosting. Like Germany. Yeah. Germany wants to put the gas down right away because they're at home. Like,
sure,
we can't like skate to a couple wins and win the group with 5 points, guys. We need let's go get 9 and embarrass some teams there.
Okay. Match 11. We already talked about it, but Elo said Georgia and Turkey are basically equal. Georgia. Go bet Georgia plus money. The market said, we're getting all the turkey we can get our hands on here, and Turkey, of course, wins going away. Portugal, Czech Republic. It said fade Portugal. Market faded Portugal. Portugal won in lucky fashion, or did Portugal tie? Portugal did win. Late goal. Portugal won, right? Or did they tie? I'm drawing a fucking blank.
I thought that was the win. They had it was like 2-1.
They won 2-1. Okay, there was a late tie. It was Croatia, Albania. Okay,
that was
Croatia, Albania. Elo said fade Croatia. The market backed Croatia, and Croatia tied. Germany, Hungary.
They drew.
We have a change of pace. The market all of a sudden into Germany against Hungary. Oh, we made a mistake on our home field calculation.
Germany. I guess what they have the refs.
Elo, by the way, said no way, do not bet Germany. But Germany was supported by the market. They won. Scotland, Switzerland, there was aggressive support for the draw, and they drew. Elo also liked the draw, by the way. In terms of just percentage, it was saying get some draw, get some draw. So kind of a mixed bag here of like just general macro signal agreeing with the Steam, with a couple exceptions. Whoever is betting player level loved Turkey. Whoever, they also loved Switzerland, and they knew better than to
fade the Deutsch.
They knew better than to fade the Deutsch the second time around. Yeah. So
I mean, I did see some people make money, and that's the thing. It's tough because Drew is just looking at 1x2, which is where the great bulk of the liquidity is in this sort of stuff. But it's not that hard to get a lot of money down on some of the derivatives in a sport like this, in an event like this. Because I was going to say, I've seen people bet like the German team total under. I believe you had to lay 2.5 with that. There were ways to fade Germany that worked, because it's one of those things. And I talk about this with somebody I know that bets tennis when we're talking about like, hey, when you're modeling this and you're doing a lot with money lines, but are we doing some sort of dispersion? And, you bet this dog and you bet this dog and you bet this dog. And it's like, hey, it's fun that this dog, you cashed on the set spread or the game spread, you lost the money line. But it's like, I told them, like, a lot of your underdogs win the first set. Are you looking at betting the first set win? Are you looking at betting a plus 1.5 sets? I'm like, it's just, and he said that it's something he needs to work on, wants to get there eventually. And I'll just keep pressing on him to do that, because it's like, man, I'm doing this sometimes. And I'm, we could do a whole extra Twitter account about the extra bets you almost placed. It could be some sort of fun joke, but it's the same kind of thing. Like, when you want to, I think that's one, it's a different skill set. That was a conversation that come from that too, is like, hey, I have an ELO model. I have a player level model. I have a model that takes into account, formation, strategy, coaching, the subs that might come on. I have a lot that I'm looking at, and, I like this underdog. They're 3-1 to win this match. I think that's value. I'm going to take some, but at the same time, why? Like, what part of your model is like, is it a defensive mismatch where you have a strong back line and you think your team can keep this close, and that's why your underdog could, find some variance on the offensive side and win this, 1-0? It's like, yeah, all right, maybe you should be adding the under. Maybe you should be adding the team total under on the favorites and stuff like that. That's where I wonder if some of these, it's hard to do this, because how many more matches do we actually have? Like 40 more matches? It's not.
You including knockout or what?
Yeah.
Including knockout, there are 49 total matches. There's no third place match, which I find to be
okay. So we got 30.
Fun. So 34
more matches. So you got 30. It's, even at the end of this, we might not have as many answers as we want, but it'll be interesting. And again, if you're betting this, if this is something you do, I'd be interested to hear, like, how are you arriving at some of those derivatives? Like, what's making you say, like, I like this team, but I'm actually going to bet the other team, the favorites team total under, or I'm going to bet, the game or the goal spread. I'm going to bet I've seen a bunch of people on that today. And like you said, there was steam on the draw, but I've seen some people bet Scotland plus a half goal, which is obviously similar with the extra added bonus of maybe Scotland wins.
Yeah. They had a chance.
There was a thing at times.
Okay. So so in general, I think basically the anyone who's betting at close player level was taking on some of the prices on this in the early match rounds, and in general they didn't do all that well. They may soften some, there may have been a factor in there for just inexperience in the at the international level, and you're going to throttle up your ratings on some of those teams as they get matches together. I think that's totally fair and likely. And I think, you absolutely have to factor in now, what are the dynamics of getting to the next round? in terms of strategy. Like that's going to matter more for the rest of these group, particularly for the third group matches, is going to matter more than, just who are the players available, right? Like how you price Germany, Switzerland, like Germany's through, like they won the group, like it's over.
That was my next point I was going to go to. It's like, hey, what if we figure this all out?
They could lose the Swiss. So, yeah.
They're through, but they don't have the group, and that's the other part. Is like, oh, I underestimated this team, I overestimated this team, my numbers are a lot sharper, and we're at the third match.
Yeah,
where
right.
Some teams are through, some teams know, like, hey, obviously they brought the goalkeeper out in that one match, which was kind of crazy in the first match, but when it's the difference between a draw getting you through or not, like you have to do some stuff like that. So the strategy is different, and then you're in knockouts where suddenly, like a team with a strong defense, suddenly their strategy can be a lot more conservative because playing for the draw late, especially late in games. I love that where like I'm not fully I'm not fully on the algorithms for live betting are wrong for soccer.
No.
But that's something I've often wondered is like, is the algorithm for, Tottenham's playing Chelsea, it's 1-1, 80th minute. And we have two teams of the same strength playing in a knockout rather than a match in the middle of the season. It's 1-1 in the 80th minute. Like the over 2.5, is it the same price, or is it, are they factoring that in? I'd be curious to hear from like a bookmaker on that. Who's like, are you just bringing in a feed that's just generalized for soccer that's the same? Because that's not the same, right? Those two teams, they're playing not to make that big mistake to lose that game in regulation at that point.
Sure, tactics change.
A lot.
Yeah, motivations and tactics change.
Curious on that, and then that's the whole point. Is like obviously we get to knockouts and strategy and tactics change quite a bit. And again, it's like what becomes more valuable at a player level model? Because I think there's people that are probably like, hey, this is my player level model. This guy's worth X. This guy's worth Y.
Yeah, you got to have a better idea of subs. I think
once we get to knockouts, like I'm giving this team a 4% bump on in defensive metrics, and it's going to move their ELO. I still want the Electric Light Orchestra. ELO, named after a guy, guys. But are you giving them an ELO bump because of their strategy? Just the way they can play ball works better in a conservative, knockout style match. That's interesting to me. So I want to see, like, once we have a pretty good understanding of what these teams are rated, if we see some weird steam in these first knockout matches.
I think
that'll tell you something interesting about like how you feel that team plays in that sort of game. And it's a different game state from minute one.
Yeah, my kind of general assumption is that the match day 2, second match for all of these teams is going to be a lot more of the tipping of the hand, right? In terms of anyone who's got a pulse, who's winning money doing this for a living and is using a player level model. I think you're going to get a lot of information out of them with some of the steam you see in the second round matches. Anything that you've seen qualitatively that you want to comment on in terms of surprises, meeting expectations, or changing your opinion about who ultimately will lift the cup?
Obviously the Mbappe injury is impactful to some degree.
Sure.
I think it's still a strong enough team to just go win their group and be fine when he comes back after he has surgery and comes back full. I'm almost done with the book. I may read Man in the Iron Mask next as like motivation for that. He's gonna full on have a mask. Like that's gonna be cool. I think that gives him bonus points in like player of the tournament because it looks cooler wearing the carbon fiber mask. That was worrisome when it was like, shit, is he having like a surgery that keeps him out the rest of the tournament? Sounds like he's going to be back when it matters. You do have to breathe properly. You run not several.
He's a very fast man too.
Yeah, more than several miles when you play a soccer game. So breathing properly is important. So hopefully that goes all well. Obviously Germany, it's hard to say. It's like, are they better than the market thought they were, or did they just put the gas down, like I said, right away? Because like, we're playing in Stuttgart, or we're playing, I can't remember. I think both of their game matches were there. Like, we gotta put it on for the locals here, you know. So I think maybe they were probably maybe rated a little bit too low, and some of it had to do with just maybe the home field motivation early on in the tournament. I don't
Munich
have a take
and then
on
Stuttgart. Their next match is in Frankfurt.
You just forget how close everything is over there. It's not like this cricket where it's like, oh, we're playing in Dallas. Oh, we're playing in New York. Further away. Everything's a quick train ride.
Dude, they should do every World Cup in Europe. What are they thinking? Like, you have so many fans. The fans are just.
That's the biggest take away from all of this. Seeing the fans interacting with each other, seeing that brawl with the guy with the bar stool into the face, seeing the parades down the street, the singing, the interaction between, like, the friendly interaction between fans from opposing teams. Like, what the fuck were they? I mean, it was money, but like, what was the highlight of like having it in the Middle East there in Qatar?
There was none.
There was scary, none. The scary housing.
Yeah, the journalist having the heart attack.
I was gonna say, do you remember? Yeah, when Grant Wall tragically passed, there was like,
that was the most memorable part of that World Cup. Besides Messi winning the World Cup.
It's crazy. Like, it wasn't just like the crazy conspiracy theorists that were like, shit, did like something happen to him? Like, was there foul play here at first? And I remember I tried to steer away from conspiracy theories, but I'm like,
sure.
I mean, it's not the craziest thing. Messi winning, and then who is the goalkeeper who did the thing with the?
Oh yeah, the Martinez.
The thing with the goal
with the golden glove.
That was pretty fun. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, and the thing about the Live Tour, at least they're not playing in terrible places, like the one
Houston.
No, I mean, but it's not like all the tournaments are in like the Middle East. Like,
I see.
It's funny, their best event was still the one in Southeast Asia. That was a cool course. The course that they're playing in Nashville is like, it was a bad course on the KFT. Ooh. Like that course got beat up by some Corn Ferry guys last year. So they might kind of rip that place apart. There's some good golfers.
Okay,
so
the
Live,
real quick,
the Live does play like Jeddah, but at the same time, so does the European. Like, the European Tour, the DP World Tour, they have like 3 in the Middle East to start things. So it's not like that was my main worry, to go on a little tangent. My main worry when they started Live is like, man, are they going to play like 10 events and they're all in like Saudi Arabia? That's going to suck, because you can have some of that, but you can't do that in the summer. They play those in January for a reason. It's still hotter than Dutch Love.
Okay, let me rapid fire here the 8 teams that I think have a realistic shot to win, and you tell me stock up, stock down, or no change based on what you've seen so far. Okay. Germany.
Stock up. Gemeinschaft.
Okay. Spain.
I'm neutral. Didn't watch. So.
Okay.
I just took in the highlights and the stat. I saw the score.
I got a prediction. You will watch every minute of Spain, Italy tomorrow.
Well, yeah, that's going to be a banger.
Goddamn good.
There's been a few. It's like, oh, if I miss this, big deal. I have work.
Yeah. Italy.
I don't know why I have my eyes closed for this. Neutral, but I mean, they can take a big step forward. Good performance tomorrow is big.
Okay. England.
Down.
Okay. France.
It's never coming home, possibly. France is neutral because of the injury. And they look sloppy. We'll have to. The coach needs to get shit together there.
Do you agree with me or disagree with me that France is going to shut out the Netherlands?
I think they'll probably get there was probably a little come to Jesus meeting after that match. Like, hey, we're supposed to be one of the favorites. That wasn't great. Like I feel like you see a strong performance from them. It's like the bounce back after a shitty, like, oh man, we barely beat the Panthers. Like we got to bounce back and really give it to the Falcons this week.
Okay, stock up or stock down for Netherlands for you?
Probably neutral, if not down.
Okay.
Just because I like so many other good teams.
Yeah, I like that. I like that team total under on the Netherlands against France. I don't think they're scoring.
This is Curacao, says Marcus. Yeah, that was my favorite part of like the first World Baseball Classic I watched. Like, I had no idea there were so many black people in the Netherlands, and then you find out like, oh, no, like no, these people all live in Curacao. Like, they're not from Amsterdam.
They're in territories.
Yeah, you had like the one guy, and Bert Blyleven is their pitching coach. It's like all a bunch of players from Curacao. The team was fun.
Portugal.
I like Portugal the man.
You like Portugal?
No, it's a band. Little up.
Portugal the man.
Little up. But they might get a little handicapped by Ronaldo. Like, I don't know. Wasn't impressed with the win, but they got it done. Probably neutral. I'm neutral to down on Portugal.
Okay. So of all the teams I mentioned 7 teams. Who is the 8th team in the quarterfinals?
I haven't paid attention to which groups are tied. Is it Belgium?
Didn't ask you about Belgium. Think they make it out of group?
Who is that group? I haven't really paid attention to the standings. I was going to check that out.
Romania, Slovakia, Belgium, and Ukraine.
Well, yeah, they should get out of that group, right?
I don't know. They got 0 goals.
It's kind of an ugly group.
They lost to Slovakia. Romania is playing well. I don't know.
Find out who wins their next match.
They are June 22 against Romania. That is Saturday.
Slovakia, Slovenia, and the Czech should form a super team. Turn back the clock. Poland, Austria, Netherlands, France. Ooh, maybe I am down on Netherlands if that's their next match.
Yep.
Slovakia, Ukraine will be of consequence, I suppose. Obviously, somebody gets like eliminated there. Turkey, Portugal. Ooh, I'm curious what the market does with that one then.
Yeah, that's gonna be
I can't see like the market being super excited. Like I said, they got their points, but like moving forward, are they going to want to back that team against the fun team, the hot team, the Lions? Turkey is the Detroit Lions, guys.
Okay. All right. So none of the other small teams gets an upgrade from you based on the eye test. No Slovakia, no Slovenia.
I'll give it. Marcus says Slovakia is good. I'll give it to Marcus. Wonder what's in that picture. What he's eating there.
Slovakia takes care of Ukraine and punches their ticket on Friday.
Could be. Ukraine suddenly is like, oh, the keeper's not good anymore.
Yeah, that was really poor. All right. Well,
this is the other thing too. Like the other thing about these teams, it's the same thing as like our cricket team. Like, oh, we're good at cricket. It's like, yeah, they're all like first generation, Indian, Pakistan, like immigrants. A lot of them are, the same last names as like the Indian team, which is, I mean, that's how it's going to be. Like, those are the kind of kids that grow up playing cricket. Like, do you know anyone in your neighborhood that grew up playing cricket up on the East Coast there? When I was at SDSU, they'd play it in the parking lot of the engineering building. I'd always stop to watch, like try to figure out what the fuck was going on. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, they'd hit the ball out in the street and stuff. I didn't understand anything, but
I was with a friend in Savannah in Forsyth Park, which is the gigantic green park in the middle of Savannah, and there was a makeshift cricket setup with these guys playing, and we were drunk, and my friend tried to convince me to go just crash and just ask if we could take a couple at bats. They were very good. Like they were like full on official bowling, like hard, fast. And I was like, no way, man. Like
the ball is kind of hard.
This is not going to happen. This is a disaster. So we didn't.
That was the biggest thing. That tweet where, remember that argument like between cricket's harder, baseball's harder, from that one tweet where somebody made fun of like a baseball play, and everyone's like, oh, this, that, and the argument just rolled on with no progress either way. And I got to thinking about it. I'm like, what if like Randy Johnson was allowed to throw at your shins? You can bounce it right at the guy.
Yeah.
You can aim right at the guy as long as it doesn't bounce like higher than the waist. Yeah. And granted, you can't like bend your elbow. The throwing motion's completely different. Who knows? But I mean, just watching some of those real high-end bowlers, no wonder they have hockey gear on and huge gloves. Nasty. They can throw the ball right at you. Like, I wouldn't have gone and played with those guys in the park. If you see somebody who knows what they're doing at cricket, I'm not playing with them. I want to go play with some kids who are throwing like 30 miles an hour.
Yeah. Give me that cheese. All right, man. Let's wrap it up. That was fun catching up, and we'll do a good interview next week. We're inching ever so close to NFL previews. So pretty exciting here as we round out into summer form.
It is almost that time.
Summer solstice coming up, by the way.
The longest day of the year.
Get your
good night,
pagan
Andrews.
Shit, get your pagan shit out.
How do you think you say this? Kwangdu? This is good night, Andrews. Good night. I'm not going to bed quite yet, but I will hit the music. I'll check you guys later. Outro. Yeah, Wimbledon. Berrettini. I live in the southern hemisphere. It's winter. Well, it's Curtis Day here. Happy winter solstice.